I could not have counted all the times that I had laid in that spot, listening to the sound of the ticking clock. My body felt relaxed, but my mind was not. My thoughts raced through like a flowing stream of tainted water. None of them actually made sense. None of them told me why I should feel uncertain, like I must do something but not know what. I wasted too much time laying on that recliner by the open window. I sat there and thought that maybe a good idea might fly through at any given moment and find its way into my mind, telling me what to do, finally relieving me of the stress that had built up within me for the past couple of days. My husband had left for work already. I believe he asked me how I was that morning, but I did not answer. It didn't matter anyway what the answer was. With him gone and the streets quiet in the early morning, all I heard was the clock ticking on the wall across the room. I was oddly addicted to that antagonizing, steady beat that marked the passing of time. Finally, after many hours, I regained the feeling of my legs and found myself on my feet and headed toward my bedroom. I closed the curtains, shutting out the sunlight of the morning, and crawled into bed, falling right to sleep. What a relief sleep was. My dreams were so lovely, and they did not frighten me like real life did. I had to wake up later in the day when the sun was just starting to go down. I had to go to work, which I did enjoy, but waking up for the day when the sun is going down does weird things to your mind. Or maybe just mine. Night owl, my husband had called me, one who sleeps during the day and lives at night. He had not returned home yet before I had to leave, and I wondered if I would ever see his smile again. No, I would not. However, I could not allow myself to think of such things at that time. It was one of those nights when I needed to have all of my bearings about me and focus. I slipped on the black dress, the most conservative and yet flattering black dress I had ever owned, put on a spray or two of perfume, and walked towards the door. With each step I took, I felt a fiery alarm run through my body. This was unusual. Those were usually the days when I walked with confidence, even impatience, and strode right out the door. I tried to calm myself and think of other things as I left the door unlocked behind me, the feeling growing stronger and stronger. I walked to one of the hotels where I worked, where I sang at their restaurant. I let my boss know that I was there, and I was informed that I was to be on stage in 10 minutes. I walked through the kitchen to get to a side door that led outside. Kendrick was waiting for me there, of course. We talked for a few minutes. We talked mostly about getting away, about living, happy and free.
It is easy, Mesa,
he says. Of course it is. It always is. Kendrick usually played the piano for me while I sang, but not that night. That night, he had other business to attend to. He told the boss that he needed to get to sleep early so that he could be awake for a job interview he would have in the morning. That was all right with the boss, Kendrick being one of his favorites. So 2 minutes before I was on, he left, with the boss wishing him good luck with the job interview. I wondered if he suspected anything. From his face, I couldn't tell. Being on stage was the most thrilling place to be. I would look out and see that the place was full, all eyes on me. However, even then, I did not feel like I was the center of attention. I felt like a whole new person was up there, swaying and singing along melodically. In that moment, somebody else was getting carried away by the lyrics and the music of Can't Take My Eyes Off You. I wanted nothing more than to be somebody else that night. My replacement piano player was keeping up quite well and almost put all the heart into his fingers as Kendrick did. I did a couple of numbers, took a 10-minute break, and then did a lot more. I finished 10 minutes until the place closed, as usual. It was early in the morning by the time I left. I was never tired, though, especially not that night. As I began the walk back home, the euphoria of living on stage, singing other people's songs about other people's happiness melted away, and I was again taken over by the flash of heat running through my mind and body. It seemed to take hold of the back of my neck, then my spine. running its fingers down the length of my back and coming around to the front to claim its possession of me, paralyzing me into a panic. I searched desperately for the feeling of numbness I so often enjoyed. As I tried to suppress the feeling of panic, my thoughts raced through me quickly. I thought about how I would have loved for my husband to have been there to hear me, how we would be laughing and talking while we walked home, and how I would have enjoyed the conversations we would have had. I actually hoped that there would be dinner or breakfast waiting for me, with my husband in the kitchen, all smiles like all the other pleasant nights. Of course, I was wishing in vain. I made it to my apartment building wondering if anyone else's life was as tumultuous as mine. There must have been somebody who had some of the same problems as I did. I reached my floor and walked down the hallway, slowly, lightly brushing my fingers along every door that I passed, strongly wishing that it was mine, that I was any of those people who lived behind them, sleeping at night, living during the day happily, freely, with the husbands that they loved. A couple more steps, and I had reached my door. The last door at the end of the hall, no need to fiddle with keys, as the door was ajar. I sucked in a big breath of air and pushed the door forward. The lights were off, and I kept them off. The early morning sun barely peeking over the city gave me just enough light, more than I needed. I could see everything, perhaps a little too clearly. Nothing was really missing, nothing out of place, except for one thing. I knew it was there. I had known all along that it would be there on this day. Yet I did not look at it. I pretended not to see it. I walked past it to my bedroom, past my trusted recliner, past the phone. I pretended to have no sight and used my hands to feel my way into my room. I closed the curtains and slid into the big, empty bed, staying on my side. My eyes did not stay closed at first, my mind still reeling and rushing. But I knew that I needed, to fall asleep. As I considered sleeping pills, my eyelids began to caress my eyes, and the fire in my body finally left me in peace. More lovely dreams, more time to escape this life. The next night was Monday, my night off. I spent the entire day and night in bed, save for a couple of hours spent on the recliner. I slept and I dreamed. I dreamed of how my future would have looked if I had stayed with my husband. I still never looked at what I knew was out of place, but the thought of it did enter my mind quite a few times, with a pang of hurt. I shoved it aside and pleaded it not to bother me again. The phone rang multiple times, but I never answered it. I never even got up to see who it was. I knew it was probably Kendrick anyway, wanting to know what I had done after I got home, what I had been doing, why he had not heard anything from me. I would see him soon enough. I still had to go to work the next night, after all. The boss could not have any idea about my current situation.